Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dimitri Johnson, and you're listening to MMALatestNews.com.
It's time to roll, baby.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to MMA Latest. We're here for the UFC Florida preview. I think the hashtag is UFC FL. So we are back again after 2 fight cards already this week. We've got a third and final one. And it looks like we're off for another 2-week break, which is saddening as it is. The May 23 card has been moved to May 30th. So we're going to have a little break again. It's almost, it's all like waiting for London buses. You wait ages for one, and you get 3 come at once, and then you have to wait for another 2 weeks for another one. But yes, we're here with Reece and Jay again, who do a lot of writing on the website at MMALatestNews.com. Also make sure to give them a follow on Twitter. But yes, lads, we're back in for the third and final one this week. It's been quite a good week for fights.
It's been weird, especially obviously we had the event on Saturday. Then we had Sunday, which was going like a down day, and then come Tuesday they're already weighing in again. And even today, like they're already weighing in again now for tomorrow's event. It's just to have fights on a Wednesday night. It was weird, but I really, really enjoyed it. To be fair.
Yeah, I'm not particularly used to it. 3 cards in 1 week, more so. Especially with the lockdown, it does help. I mean, what else do I have to do? So it was the perfect time to put on a midweek card. But yeah, I was excited anyway to have something back to watch.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I was interested to see, because obviously we had such a great card on Saturday night, to then go to the card on Wednesday, which was still a great card, but on paper wasn't obviously anywhere nearly as good as what the pay-per-view card was.
True.
But I think everyone was quite happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, I think we're all football fans, we're all United fans in here as well. And it's a bit like going from a Premier League game off to maybe Europa League, with no disrespect to the fighters on the card that was on there. But obviously from a business standpoint, we missed, 4 cards, I think, during the lockdown, 4 or 5 cards. Yeah. So that's a lot of main events. And as a business standpoint, you can see why they stacked out that pay-per-view card. And obviously, Wednesday's card was more of the best of the rest. That would have been either the prelims or the main card openers and whatnot on the Wednesday night. So that was our dull night. But Saturday's back, and we've got Walt Harris versus Overeem. Walt Harris does return, but we'll quickly recap what we saw on Wednesday. OSP in the heavyweight division didn't look too bad, didn't look great. He looked a bit heavy for his division. But do you think we'll see him back in there?
I hope not.
I do. I think, he kind of looked a bit sluggish and stuff, but obviously towards the end of the fight, he picked it up and he got the knockdown and stuff, but it was too little, too late. But I think it'll be a bit of an adjustment period for him. I think he probably needed this fight just to kind of get his feet wet, test the waters, and then, he'll be used to that. And then the next time around, I think he'll look a little bit more comfortable anyways. And it also depends on who do you match him up with,
I think, I think that plays a lot into it. It was really weird because obviously he was circling around the cage, obviously, because Ben Rothwell does stalk you. He does just follow you around in a circle and hope, and if he catches you, then obviously it's over. So to see him kind of like circle around, and as he said, like now and again, he realised that he could actually probably hurt Ben, and he did knock him down. And there was a couple of good moments that he had, but it was a bit of a weird performance. But I don't think he won the fight. I think Ben did win the fight, just purely based on the pressure and the advancing that Ben did. But if he can get to a comfortable weight where he can manage his cardio and everything else with it, I think he can be a threat, especially with his submission game as well. But it's just a case of if rather than if he can't do it.
Yeah, I do. We always get this question of, do we need extra weight divisions? And to be able, obviously, I think OSP came into this about 240, around the 240 mark, whereas Ben, I think, came around 260, which is a 20-pound gap, which in any other, that doesn't exist in any other division. So it would be interesting to see if we brought in a 240-pound division. But at the same time, I think OSP belongs there. I wouldn't be too mad. We've got a lot of talk at Francis Ngannou versus John Jones. John Jones did put a tweet out being like, I could have a catchweight fight at 220. There could be talk, or at least a want for an OSP too at heavyweight, just to put his feet in there, maybe.
John Jones was talking a lot, weren't he, on Twitter?
Yeah.
He was very loud. Very loud.
I think he needs a reality check. But no, that'll never come. That'll never come.
Him and Connor seem to be in some sort of bet or something. Those two. Like, they go back and forth. One does a good thing. The other one brings their notoriety down, and they flip it at each other every other week.
I mean, obviously he's been talking about that fight with Francis, but he's a brave man. I mean, look what happened to Rosenstruik when he was asking for a Francis fight.
Yeah, you don't ask for a Francis Ngannou fight, do you?
Absolutely not. He'd be an absolute madman, which
Especially
Jones
when
is. But
he's now been coached by Mike Tyson as well, which, you know, doesn't help.
Yeah, I saw that video. That was crazy.
Right.
It's kind of like heartwarming to see that, like someone like Mike
it is.
being able to kind of. I mean, I'm not sure how much Francis is going to learn from him, but you should learn quite a lot from him.
Well, you saw John Jones questioning his technique. I was saying to Jay before, there's no one better to teach a technique other than Mike Tyson, unless it's Tyson Fury, probably.
Yeah, that's the thing with Francis is that even last Saturday, like when he was going in for the kill, so I'd say his chin was in the air, but as like John Anik said, like it doesn't matter if your chin's in the air when you can hit like Francis does, because he knows if he hits you, you're going to sleep. So he can afford to leave his chin in the air, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think Francis obviously being a lot, not just bigger than the light heavyweights, but taller as well. So he has length that can match him up nicely with John Jones. The thing is, John Jones has a tremendous amount more tools to beat Francis Ngannou, but it's just about avoiding the power. Because John can get hit, you know. John
He almost likes it sometimes.
Yeah, he can take one to give one, you know, and that's a dangerous game with Ngannou. So I could imagine Jones, if he was to fight Ngannou, which I don't see happening anytime soon, but I could imagine that would be up against the fence and get him to the ground, because I don't think he wants anything on the feet with Francis, just for the risk of what could come, you know. Then everything like Jones's legacy, no, it wouldn't take away his legacy and stuff like that, but it's a bad start to jump up to the heavyweight division fighting Ngannou. I think that fight could be perfect if you let the heavyweight division play out as is. Let DC and Stipe fight. Ngannou rightfully gets his title shot. Because if Jones comes up and beats Ngannou, that title shot's gone. You've nothing to market then for Jones, because DC's gone into retirement. Stipe's flirting with that also. So I think let Ngannou have his title shot. If Ngannou beats him, if Ngannou wins the title, Jones is the perfect fighter to step in and have probably the biggest heavyweight title fight of all time.
Yeah, and to add to that, we're saying about this Ngannou. We were saying about Ngannou's story is a movie from where he's come from. You know, digging sand dunes, sand mine, and going then to France, putting it all on the line, looking through a life in boxing. You know, he wasn't looking to come into MMA. MMA sort of found him, and he's on an absolute tear at the moment. You know, you can see him if Miocic wins keeps his belt, and Ngannou gets his title shot as he deserves, and he comes out as heavyweight champion of that, especially after the way he lost to Miocic in that fight. You could that's the end of the perfect fairy tale. But then if you had John Jones that mix as well, as an almost that it's just movie for Ngannou, especially if he beat John Jones in a first title defense.
Yeah, I think like he touched on that. I watched this morning, as we said earlier, Mitch. I watched the hot boxing episode with Mike Tyson. Yeah, so as I was saying before I rudely got interrupted, I seen on the hot boxing with Mike Tyson episode this morning. You know, he talked about MMA, and that was never in his plans. He didn't even know what it was, and he was only referred to it just to make some quick money. And he lost his second MMA belt, and his mindset was, I can't leave now because it looks like I quit. So he went back and he's like, I have to fix something here. And then this took him to where it is now. And I think he was only 6 fights in before he was offered the UFC contract. And the rest is history. You see how big he's become now.
He's definitely become one of the poster boys now. I think more people are starting to recognise who he is. I think like when he had that first title shot against Stipe, it reminds me a lot of like Darren Till when he burst into the scene. you can say it was too soon, but at the same time, like Till and Ngannou was only doing what they were was only destroying the people they put in front of him. At the end of the day, you've got to win the fights that are put in front of you, and that's what Francis did, and that's what Darren did. And the title fight did come too soon for both of them, but I think we saw, especially with Francis as well, that title loss has definitely helped him grow as a fighter. They've definitely become more well-rounded. Obviously, we're still yet to see that properly with Darren, but I think we've definitely saw it with Francis. Obviously, his last 4 fights haven't come out the first 90 seconds, I think it is.
Yeah, well, he's only spent 2 minutes and 40 seconds in his last 4 fights.
It's crazy.
No, and he's beat Cain Velasquez and Junior DeSantis. There's 2 former champions in that as well.
That's crazy, yeah.
4 consecutive first-round KOs. It's ridiculous what he's done after that Derek Lewis fight because, his path could have been a lot different after that Miocic loss where he got slightly humbled. It wasn't his fault. I think, then he beaten Overeem a month before he got that title shot as well. So he got thrown in there almost as the UFC's dream almost because if they'd won that, they'd had a superstar, off the back of those 2 wins. But it didn't happen like that. Derek Lewis, that fight, we were saying we wouldn't be mad or surprised probably if they tried to do that Derek Lewis fight. He's the only other fighter in the UFC that he's lost to. And both of them are on a winning streak, and neither of them really have an opponent in line at the moment.
Yeah,
they could revisit that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would. It's probably the most sense if the division is going to be tied up, and he doesn't want to just sit on the sidelines. I believe Francis Ngannou is the better of the 2, and it obviously he was a fighter with a lot less confidence going into the Derek Lewis fight, and you've seen how it played out. Like, he barely threw a punch. So I have a feeling that it wouldn't be the case this time around. I think he would go for Derek Lewis, and I think he would beat him quite convincingly, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think that Lewis does get hit. I mean, even in the fight against Volkov, he was losing every second of that fight, and then obviously he pulled out the right hand that he pulled out, and he won a fight. So I think that Francis rematch would go entirely differently. But the question is though, how does he come back up against Stipe? Because obviously Francis hit Stipe, not as cleanly as he would have liked, but he still hit him, and Stipe took it. But then
True.
It's hard to know how he's going to go up against Stipe. Or
Yeah,
even if DC wins. If DC wins, does he definitely retire? Or does he fight Francis?
I mean, Ghana's a super fight, no doubt. It's an extra payday for DC. But, he keeps tempering retirement. Now, to be fair, when he said he was going to retire, I think, was it when he originally won the belt, didn't he? And he was talking about retirement after the Brock Lesnar fight that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But he's only fought twice since then. Well, 3 times actually. I keep forgetting he's fought Derek Lewis as well. But, he's not getting any younger. But at the same time, he doesn't look exactly ready for retirement. But after having, 2 fights in 2 years, there's obviously a lot less in there for him to fight now. And, he's doing brilliantly on the media side as well. So there's not a need for him to risk getting knocked out by Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, I think he performs like a fighter who doesn't need to retire. Like he doesn't show any signs of maybe you should step aside. I think he performs still at the very top level. But touching on what you said about Francis and how he beats Stipe the second time, I think the first fight, Francis went into that fight believing all he had to do was touch him.
Yeah,
that's all he had to do because that's all he's done to everybody else, and they went down. So I think he went in cocky. He was arrogant. He knew this is all I have to do, and I have the belt, and that wasn't the case. And Stipe, he rolled some of the shots, but he took some of them as well. But he persevered and he got through it. And I don't think Francis was prepared for that. I think this time, if they did fight, I'm not saying this would be a way for him to win, but I believe he would be a lot more calm, a lot more kind of similar to how Justin Gaethje was. He didn't hit him and just dive on him and blow his gasket. I think that's how Francis will perform the second time around.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see. So obviously, Stipe's in the same boat. He's only fought against DC, and then obviously DC again. But the gap between the 2 fights have been such a long distance, and obviously what's going on at the minute can't be helped. And obviously him not having somewhere to train obviously plays into it. But like when he does start training, is he going to be able to have a proper training camp? Because obviously that's what a lot of fighters are questioning at the minute, is not being able to have a proper camp, not being
Yeah,
having access to a proper gym like they normally do.
yeah, and especially being a champion, you don't want to be cutting short any camps, especially if you're fighting the likes of Ngannou or DC. You know, we saw what Khabib made the right decision not to fight against Tony Ferguson, and he got a lot of backlash for that. You know, you don't want to see any fighter take a fight that they don't need to at the moment, especially with how times are. You know, we've got Amanda Nunes fighting Felicia Spencer. It looks like she's got a camp in her, but you know, if she loses her, I mean, she probably, it doesn't tarnish her legacy if she loses the featherweight title, but she's technically putting herself in a position she doesn't need to be in at the moment. But to go back to Ngannou and Miocic, it'd be interesting. We saw Ngannou's ground and pound in the camp to Rosenstruck. You know, there's a lot of damage in there, but you know, both Miocic and DC are, you know, Miocic here is 37 years of age. And Ngannou is only 33, so he's coming into his prime. The other two are almost over the hill, you could say. So he might be better off not waiting for them to retire themselves, but to almost get that trilogy out of the way. And maybe there's a vacant title there for him.
But yeah, especially if
There is
DC
potentially. Go ahead, Reece.
I was just like, obviously, if Daniel wins, then obviously he's going to retire, and that's obviously his decision, and no one can moan at him. He's had a fantastic career, and he goes down as one of the greatest of all time. But I've never been a fan of someone winning a belt and then instantly retiring. It just doesn't sit well with me, because it kind of leaves way
GSP
more
did
questions.
it, and it held up the whole middleweight division.
Exactly, it leaves a lot more questions than it does answers in that division. In a division which is already there's questions being asked of who's going to be the next champion. Where's the division going to be in 2-3 years' time? So DC winning the title against Stipe for his legacy is great, but then for the division's legacy, it's a bit like it doesn't really solve anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we'd already held up the division for 2 or 3 years as well, with the temptation of Brock Lesnar fighting DC. You know, if DC wins, there's all the chance that he might build DC John Jones 3 at heavyweight, and then you've got a whole other problem, and another 6, 7, 8 months to wait.
Yeah. I think when a fighter retires, are they ever really retired? Because this is the only sport I've seen. There's been so many retirements, and yet I've seen them fight again. But I think the way you're saying, Reece, and I 100% agree, how, you know, a champion, well, he wins the belt and then retires, and then it leaves the whole division wide open. Yeah. But when GSP done it, it was kind of out of left field. People didn't know after the fight if he was coming back, if he wasn't. Whereas the UFC and Dana White, they're prepared this time round, going in knowing, right, if DC wins, we know he's done. So they can just get the show on the road again pretty soon. I would imagine Ngannou will be the next one in, and probably Stipe, just because of his just because of what he's done. He's the most title defenses and stuff like that. His recognition in the heavyweight division. So I would imagine he would get the first title shot if DC was to win. But I think they'd probably get the show on the road ASAP.
Let's say DC does win. Could you see Ngannou Jones for the vacant belt?
Potentially. Yeah, absolutely.
It'd
be huge.
It'd be a hell of a fight for Jones's heavyweight debut as well.
I mean, he should step in and fight for the title, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's no doubt about it. If you're a champion of a weight class below or even above, like TJ was, for example, at bantamweight, like if you're moving down or up, you definitely deserve to go into a title shot. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like everyone's itching for John Jones to do it now, especially when you've seen so many people do it now. John Jones, you know, he's the consensus greatest of all time, despite his outside of the cage antics. You know, it's probably between him, GSP, and maybe Anderson Silva are my sort of Mount Rushmore. And I put Demetrius Johnson in there as well. But, you know, John Jones probably needs that for his legacy. And it's, you know, it looks like he's getting hungry again. The light heavyweight division, it's probably his own doing. If you took John Jones out of that light heavyweight division, you've got a cracking division there at the moment.
Yeah.
Because John Jones is so much ahead of the rest of the pack, it almost makes it boring. But a move up to heavyweight for him is something fresh to him.
Yeah. I don't think he's got any maybe apart from Yan at light heavyweight. I don't think there's...
He's beaten the rest of the top four in this division already.
I don't think there's anyone else that stands out. I don't even think there's anyone who's on the way up who I really look at and go, Yeah, that would be a good fight. Obviously, like we did have Volkan Ozdemir as well. He was on a rise,
Yeah.
but then obviously
Yeah.
he got humbled by DC.
Mm.
Apart from Yan, I don't think there's anyone in that division who.
No, and the top four are beating the people below that. We had Johnny Walker, Corey Anderson were all being lined up as the next competitors, and they got pushed aside by that next sort of elite tier. Again, to bring it back to football, you got the champion, you got Liverpool as John Jones, and then you got almost the top four are in a bracket of their own, and then the Europa League spots are below that.
Yeah, I think you do John versus Yan, and then I think you move John up to heavyweight. I don't think there's anything left for him there. He's got nothing left to prove now. Nothing left to prove at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, think about it. Even if John Jones moves to that, you could then do probably Reyes versus Yan for an interim title, depending on how long Jones would be out. Then you've got a definitive, almost number one contender. There's a lot of chat between a rematch. But, this weekend, we've actually, stick with the light heavyweight division. What was your thoughts about the John Jones Glover Teixeira fight? Teixeira's putting himself back in there now as well.
I was Smith come out in that fight and was definitely looking to finish early. He had a really, really good first round. He was looking crisp on the feet. He was quick. He had speed and power advantage. He had everything going for him. And I don't know, he kind of just got tired after just the second round, which was really weird. I was quite surprised, but at the same time, like I think we were discussing in the group chat before, like you can never rule out someone like Glover. He's been in the game for so long, and he's been in so many big fights. He's obviously never fought for a belt, and that's obviously the one thing he wants now. But has he won 4 in a row now? I think it's 4 in a row now.
Thereabouts, yeah.
And he's just beat Smith, who, apart from the Gustafsson fight, was coming off that Jones fight. So maybe you do someone like Glover versus Dominic Reyes, and then you do obviously Yan versus John. And then the winner of Glover versus Reyes goes to fight the winner of John versus Yan. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of piggyback off what you said, though. I think the Yan fight is the only fight left for John. And I couldn't see him sticking around to beat another contender because he's beating every single one of them. Like, when did he fight Glover? 4 or 5 years ago? You kind of handle him pretty easy.
Yeah.
I don't think those things interest him. So at this point, I reckon John moves. But I think Glover he's probably definitely a fight away for a title shot, whether it's a vacant title or not. But his performance the other night was unbelievable. And it's like we touched on, Mitch. It got very uncomfortable to the point where he didn't enjoy it. He didn't enjoy what he had to do to Smith. And that's 2 main events in a row now where we've kind of sat and thought, right, okay, this needs to stop. Like this is getting very, very uncomfortable.
Upsetting.
I kind of felt
it's almost upsetting.
Yeah.
You said that. We've had these 2 cards now back to back with no fans in there, and times we're in, we've seen 2 fights become pretty uncomfortable in the space of about a round or 2. Even after the second round with Tony Ferguson, especially as he upcutted Gaethje, you're thinking, oh, he's still in this fight. But then the tide quickly turns. And the same thing happened with Smith. When you're handing the referee your teeth, and you go back to your corner and say, oh, my teeth are falling out. And they go, oh, just get back in there, lad. It's okay. You don't have to start questioning the team then. My thing was, I didn't actually have a problem with what Jason Herzog, his refereeing. I didn't have a problem because every time he asked Anthony Smith to move or, just to show some signs that he's still in that fight, Anthony Smith obliged. So I don't put anything down to Herzog, really. Maybe he could have finished it in that 4th round, or maybe a doctor's stoppage, perhaps, if he thought he couldn't compete any longer. But it's more down to the team to protect their fighter than the referee, for me, this occasion, to step in there. But, when the stoppage did come, I wasn't going, oh, you should have left it any longer.
Yeah, I was surprised when he came out for a 5th. I was really surprised. I thought that was it. But, as I think it was DC said, it's not about criticising the corner of Anthony Smith. Especially, obviously, you've got Mark Montoya in there. And you've got someone like James Krause, who is a fighter himself as well. Obviously, fighters don't quit. That's the narrative. And that's completely understandable. But surely,
tell Stephen A. Smith that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like,
Oh,
if you look at a corner and your man is in there or woman, and they're at a point where they're not going to come back and win, like there was nothing left in Anthony Smith's gas tank at all. He was just throwing, hoping he connected. I just don't personally see how you can send him out. I was like, as we said, like it got to a point where it was hard to watch because you don't want to see anyone take any unnecessary damage, and that's what was happening to Smith.
Yeah, like I think I agree with Mitch. I think the ref done his job. I think the ref stepped in because it got to a point where he had just seen enough. It was like not even the shot that particularly put him down was worthy of a stoppage. I think it was just like, you know what, I need to save this fella because nobody else is.
yeah.
I think
Yeah, you saw
it's like
15
you
minutes
said.
of pure beatdown.
Yeah, like and when a fighter hands you your teeth, his teeth, and then goes back to the corner and says, "My teeth are falling now." Now I understand his coach came out and said they're veneers, so they fall out. But it's like you said, they didn't even acknowledge it. You know, they're falling out for a reason. You're getting a beating. You know, do your job. Like you should turn around to your fighter and say, "Look, I love you. You're gonna hate me for this, but I'd rather see you healthy in 10 years' time than spend another 10 minutes of getting brain damage." Do you know what I mean? It's not worth it. There's little things in this game. Like if you want to fight in 3-4 months' time, sit this one out. You're not gonna like the fight's over. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like because he's at the top of the division still as well. It's not like this is it for Anthony Smith. Like he's going to come back in a big fight against someone.
Well, he's only one win fight, probably one win away from going back to John Jones and asking for a rematch. But to add to that, we saw a lot of the commentary team, and I'm not digging them out, but we was all questioning why isn't Glover trying to finish this? Why isn't he? You know, he was, especially in that third round, he got him on the ground and he was just pummeling him, and he kept every sort of like 20 seconds he'd look for a submission. Now, thinking about it, he apologized to him in the middle of that round. Maybe he just wanted to give him the easy way out rather than just keep beating him down. If he'd got the submission and an attack, we wouldn't have seen the extra damage that he took. So maybe Glover Teixeira just wanted to give him almost the easy way out, or the less painful way out, should we say?
Maybe.
Yeah, like even Chael had said it after the fight. You know, the easiest thing for Anthony Smith to do would have been just to lift his neck by 2 inches, and then he chokes in, but he just wouldn't. So he wanted to be there. Like as bad as it was going for him, he did want to be there. There was no quit in him, but he definitely did give signs to say, "Look, I can't do this anymore." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't think people acted on it.
That's twice now that, once again, we're not criticising Mark Montoya, but I don't know if you remember the Thomas Gifford versus Mike Davis fight last year, towards the end of last year.
Yes.
Thomas Gifford got
That's the long head
battered.
guy, isn't it?
Yeah, he got battered for 15 minutes. He got destroyed, and there was loads of people online. And I think even the commentary team was like, Mark needs to pull Thomas out here because it's only going one way. He's not going to win the fight. As you said, just save your fighter for another day, especially when you're at a position like Anthony is, as I said. He's still in that top 5 of the division. Doesn't make sense.
Unless it's just a mentality in the gym. That's the only thing you can think of.
To return that, me and Jay were saying earlier before, how many times have you seen a fight that's run 3 or 5 rounds? You know, look at Rosenstruck. He lost 5 rounds and came out with a KO win. You see it so many times where a fighter's losing on the scorecards, and within that last round comes out with a win. If Anthony Smith had pulled, he's very good on the ground, he could have got a submission win if that had opened to him, and we'd be talking about a different story. But it's incredible that we let fighters take so much damage, especially in boxing. You saw Tyson Fury, against Wilder. Wilder's team throwing a towel. You see that a lot more in boxing than you do in MMA.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's become more prominent in boxing because obviously boxing's more dangerous than MMA. As weird as that sounds, obviously you've only got
more damage to the head.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Constant blows to the head. But then I just I don't know. It for me, as a corner man, you've got to, first and foremost, before anyone, you've got to take into account how your fighter's feeling. Do they look like they want to be in there? Because the fighter's always going to say, I'm good to go. I want to carry on. That's just in there. It's just their natural instinct. But
we've seen it a couple of times. We saw Raquel Pennington, I think, was it against Nunes or Holm? I think when she went back to the corner and said she's done. She said you're done, but the corner was like, go back out there and see what you can do, pretty much.
Yeah, I think Anthony Smith would have won that fight if he had Diego Sanchez's guru in his corner. He would have figured out a way to get out of that fight and get a W.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see, because obviously a lot of these fights were meant to happen a month ago, within the last month at least. It's interesting to see I'd like to look at the stats and see, because obviously Smith lost, Ferguson lost, and they were supposed to fight last month. It'd be interesting to see what them fighters that are supposed to fight in that period are like in the next 2-3 weeks. You know, Tyron Woodley's meant to be fighting Gilbert Burns. Now that's a fresh fight, but any fight
but Tyron was supposed to fight 2 months ago as well.
Exactly, he was meant to fight in March.
That's a good point.
But it'd be interesting to see what the sort of balance is between wins and losses for fighters that are supposed to fight a month ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see more losses than wins, to be honest. You know,
Me neither.
It's like we touched on it the other night when we had a little call on the quiz night, just saying. But
how did Ryan do? That's the reason why Ryan's not
very
pool,
poorly. I hope he's watching.
Yeah. If you finish in the top 3, you get into the pool now.
Yeah, unlucky kid. But I lost my train of thought now. What were we talking about?
You're gonna have more losses than wins for fighters who were scheduled to fight a month or 2 before. Because
your training camp designs you to peak on fight night, at least fight week.
Yeah.
And then when you have to take a week off and jump back into a 3-week camp and then cut weight a second time and stuff like that, it will only hinder you. And we've seen that with Tony Ferguson. So I could imagine more fighters who've been rescheduled would probably lose.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah, so I'd say Ray Borg lost as well the other night against Ricky Simona.
He looked
Ray
good.
Borg was meant to fight in that April card. Yeah, he looked very good. You know, he's had a lot of trouble about not making his flyweight weight, but fighting at bantamweight, he seemed to have no problem, and he gave Ricky Simona a good fight.
I enjoyed that fight a lot.
I was surprised at the hands that he was showing. I didn't think he had that in him. I think that if he'd let those hands go a little bit more, he might have edged it, but the takedowns that Ricky had just won him the fight in the end. But it's nice to see Ray Borg. Obviously, he'd won 2 in a row, and then obviously coming to this one. But it's nice to kind of see him. I wouldn't say back at that level yet, because obviously, with all due respect to Ricky Simon, he's only fighting Ricky Simon. But from where he lost against DJ as well, that's the best version of Ray Borg I've ever saw. He looked brilliant in that fight. I was really impressed with him.
Yeah, and he's had a tough couple of years as well.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, but it's like you said, Reece, as well. Like the only thing that went away from him in that fight was the takedowns, and I thought Ricky Simon done brilliantly because there was no tail on any of them takedowns.
No,
you were always just caught by surprise, and they were clean as well. Like, I don't remember, did he stuff any takedowns? I have to rewatch it,
but yeah.
Let me see.
It was I was really obviously Ricky lost 2 in a row. He lost 2.
He got 7 of 11 takedowns. Ricky Simon
got beat by Faber.
Yeah, Faber
7 of 11.
Rob Font, I think it was. But to be fair though, like as we've discussed before, like that bantamweight division, that's one of the best right now. Especially with no one really knows what's happening with MMA. When you've got the likes of Jan, Moraes, Aldo, Frankie Edgar, Corey Sandhagen, Adrian
It's a mix of legends and new breed in there that make a very fantastic division.
Yeah,
it's arguably the best division in the UFC right now. I mean, I'd put that up there with lightweight.
Yeah,
I think, and probably middleweight.
Yeah.
Middleweight would be the next one for me.
I think lightweight's got a good top 5, like an elite top 5.
Yeah.
Whereas bantamweight's got a really, really good top 10, top 15.
Yeah.
I think that's probably more what it is. But obviously the lightweight division obviously brings in the more money with obviously Conor being in there and Conor only.
I mean, so who'd they retire in now? You know, if he comes back and gets an extra, $5 mil in his purse, he's done pretty well for himself. You know, we were saying just before about fighters retiring and seeing them fight again. You know, you can say what you want. He said he saved the flyweight division. I think he put it into more sort of problems than he did in terms of moving straight up a weight class. But, we still have a flyweight division. If he had lost that fight, we wouldn't have one. But it's very interesting if he returns and what he can do for the rest of the bantamweight division. But him also retiring has put eyes on it because we're now waiting to see what the next vacant title shot is.
Yeah, I just believe that was a contract negotiation more than anything. Now, look, I could be wrong, but it's like I said a minute ago. Has anybody really retired in MMA? Connor's retired twice already.
Well, look at Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I don't know, but I think that was just a contract negotiation. But the bantamweights don't need him right now. Like, they're thriving.
Oh yeah,
it's more so. It's more so flyweight, I think. But I think they'll be all right. I think they'll get by.
Yeah, I think they will as well. We're gonna need to, obviously, with what happened with Figueiredo and Joey B, like, it's gonna need to be a champion, and then someone's gonna have to be prepared to defend that belt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a case of who, I think, rather than. I mean, like, obviously, with what happened with TJ moving down, which I'm not a massive fan of, and obviously Henry destroyed him. As we said, like, Henry, did he really save it that night? Probably not, because he threw it into more. Because once you move up in, like, Henry's situation, once you move up that 10 pounds, it's so hard to come back down.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're starting your opposition as well. Whether it's poor decision, referee decisions that get him, but he finished Marias and he has a win against Dominic Cruz, which is a very impressive win.
Oh, he definitely has a great body of work. Like, his record is up there with the best of them. TJ Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz, Jesus Christ, my mind's gone
Mighty
blank.
Moss.
Who?
Mighty Moss.
Like, come on, it's the obvious one. We had a brain fart. But yeah, like, his record is brilliant. Benavidez as well. Did he knocked out Benavidez?
He lost to Benavidez. Yeah, that's his only loss. Did
he not rematch him?
There was
I'm
talk
thinking
about
of the Mighty Mouse rematch, sorry, where he knocked him out.
Yeah.
There was talk about it, but it never came to fruition. But,
yeah, I think he'd handle Benavidez now.
Yeah. I think, like, in terms of, like, him retiring, and I'm going to refer it back to football, because obviously it's easy for all of us, and I'm going to refer it to Man United as well. Like, when a player uses Man United's interest, and then all of a sudden 2 days later, they've signed a new 5-year deal. That's what, as you said, that's what it reminds me of with Henry. He's just looking for an extra zero on his paycheck. And we all know what
Sergio Ramos comes to mind.
Yeah, I've got a list. I'd be here for an hour.
At the same time,
that's what it reminds me of.
Dana can be very stubborn. If he doesn't want to give it to him, we might never see Cejudo again. And then we've got a fresh bantamweight division.
Yeah, I think this was the point where Cejudo was becoming a star. I think he was definitely on the rise. I don't think he was just complacent. Well, not complacent, because DJ was never complacent. I mean, what's the correct word for it? He was just here. There was no growth, in terms of a startup. Where Cejudo is grown rapidly, I think. And then he steps out. I don't think Dana will kind of like that. I don't think he'd appreciate that, that tactic for more money. So he probably will be stubborn and say, right, if that's your decision, I'm not chasing you, Especially because bantamweights are flying right now. And theoretically, the flyweight title is vacant. So why do we need him?
It's not the same as Conor McGregor saying, I'm not coming back unless you pay me X, Y, Z. Dana White will give Conor the money because it's worth it. It'll get him an extra 10 million pay-per-view buys. But, for Cejudo, he doesn't need to beg Cejudo to come back to the UFC.
No, he's plenty of champions there that will make him money. Well, I'd like to see Cejudo back in the UFC, but I don't see Dana as the type of person to go chasing him.
Well, you've seen him in the past. Look at his relationship with Cyborg, how that deteriorated almost instantaneously.
That was broken to begin with.
Yeah. It's, once Dana makes his mind up on something, he very rarely changes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, just to have a little look at this weekend's card, this weekend's card is a very low-key stacked card. It's a very good fight night card. Obviously, it's spearheaded by Overeem and Walt Harris. Now,
I'm not ready for that.
No, when Walt Harris, obviously with what he went on with his personal life, it's always difficult to speak on it. When it came out originally, I chose to give him the privacy. As a YouTube channel, we make content, but I always thought we wanted to give him the privacy that he deserves. But he's come back now. He looks. Do you reckon it's too soon? Obviously, we've seen the past two fights end up in almost heartbreaking fashion for us. We could potentially see another third one.
I don't know. I think the only person who can really answer that question is Walt himself. Obviously, he's the only one who knows if he's ready. And obviously, I think there was in the virtual media day that was with Alistair. He was just saying that I completely understand the situation that Walt's in, and I do have sympathy for him, but that's not going to affect the way I go out and fight this fight. So, you know, with everything that's gone on, like, obviously Walt's been on a really, really good run, a really good knockout run. I'm really hoping that he can, as harsh as it sounds, but focus on the fight that's ahead of him on Saturday night, because he does have the tools. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's definitely, I think he's like 36 or 37 now. He's actually getting on, but he definitely has the tools to make a charge to the title, definitely.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same opinion. I think, like, he's gone through an awful lot, right? So I couldn't imagine him taking the fight. I said this to Mitch before we start recording, but I couldn't imagine him taking the fight when he's just going through the motions. Yeah. You know, I would imagine this has some sort of drive, and motivation, hunger, and stuff like that. It's just the timing of it, right? It's like, is it too soon? I mean, what went on in his personal life is traumatic. It's unforgettable. So it's just a question of timing for me. And opinion, I think it probably is too soon. I don't know, I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I think a lot of Alistair Overeem fans, who people like root for Overeem, would also be happy for Walt Harris if he won. But I don't know, I just think it's too soon. I fear it's probably going to be not his night.
Yeah, there's definitely that fear. I think you're right in terms of him saying he wouldn't have accepted a fight if he wasn't feeling it. I think sometimes at the same time as well, he looks like he could get the mindset of he needs something to reset his mind on towards a fight camp, just so he can have some regularity in his life. Because of what happened was, again, he was preparing to fight Overeem that night, I think, or Volkov it might have been, at UFC Washington. And with what happened, obviously, being so sad and so traumatic in his life, you know, he rightfully didn't continue. And he's had that sort of time now, and hopefully he's using this as almost as a gateway to get back to normal life. And, you know, he's got something to fight for. This fight, if he wins this fight, it ends that chapter, and in such a beautiful manner as well.
It makes him a contender as well.
Yeah, it does. Especially with a win over someone like Alistair, who's got the title credentials that he's had in over the years, to win a fight like that.
Well, we've seen what a win against Overeem does to you now.
Oh yeah,
with the last two.
Yeah, it catapults you.
Sends you straight to Ngannou, but hey.
Yeah, it's one of them, though, isn't it? As I said, the only person who really knows he's ready is Walt Harris himself, and we'll see on Saturday night.
Yeah, I hope he wins. I do hope he gets a win. Not that I dislike Overeem. I just think for him, it'd be nice to see him win.
It's just it's the nature of it, isn't it? I think people just want good things for him. Like, yeah.
Let's move on to the rest of the card. Edson Barboza makes it to featherweight division. Debut, of course, he's against Dan Ige. What do we make of Barboza moving down?
I don't know. It's tough.
I think, I'm kind of curious to see how it goes. He made weight quite comfortably, so it seems, 145.5. So, it looks like he didn't have any problems there. So now it's just about how he kind of rehydrates himself and looks tomorrow. This is a tough fight. Dan Ige it's not easy. So I can't call this one, to be honest. I really can't. My head's a bit fried from it.
I think a lot of it, obviously, with Barboza and his leg kicks and his body kicks. If he can utilize those, then he definitely look. I mean, at the end of the day, like, he's fought the best of the best at lightweight. But I think I saw an interview this morning that I think he just got bored at lightweight. He's fought everybody, where he hasn't fought anyone at featherweight. But it's always interesting to a fighter to move down a weight class rather than up. But as you said, like, like when you're being put in there against Dan Ige, it's one hell of a task. I think it's going to be I think for the entire card, I think that's probably my fight of the night, maybe, alongside Song Yadong and Marlon Vera as well.
Anything with Eric Anders for me, I'm watching.
Yeah.
Your boy. Your boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, to go on that, if I'm Edson Barboza, you probably look at that. The featherweight division, it's very good stylistically for him with who's there. If you look at the welterweights, full of absolute killers in the wrestling, in terms of Colby and Usman, and even Masvidal, there's absolute killers in that division. Not that there isn't in the featherweights, but you've got a win for Barboza could set him up against like a Jeremy Stevens, Calvin Kattar, Yair Rodriguez. There's a lot of very good, exciting fights there for him. Even Brian Ortega's a beat. You know, Max Holloway probably fights Volkanovski for the title rematch, but that's a very good division to see someone with Barboza's skill set take place, and he could put on a masterpiece performance.
This is definitely his chance to shine. Because I always feel that in the big fights, he's kind of just fell short. Like in the fights against Justin Gaethje, for example, and Khabib, like he just fell short. Like I think he reminds me of that fighter who's at top 5 level in terms of the division, but then he just doesn't quite have enough to go to that next step.
Wins 1 in 3, but those 2 he loses 2, go on to fight for a title or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see if he can make a run at featherweight, because obviously he'll be, maybe apart from Zabit, in terms of like frame, he'll definitely be the biggest featherweight, one of. So if he can,
I think maybe Volkanovski. Volkanovski is a big guy, former rugby player.
Yeah,
but he's short.
Yeah, true.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
DC proved that one.
Yeah.
Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mighty Mouse is the best example for that.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing Claudia Gadelha again. I don't know what really this will do in terms of the division, but I was just like watching her fight. I think she's gonna be pretty decent. I'm looking at it here. What's her current win streak?
I think she won
She's
against
actually had a couple of fights cancelled as well.
Yeah, she went to fight on that Conor card, but her opponent missed weight. But I think she beat Randa Marcos last.
She was meant to fight Grasso, I think it was it?
Yeah, and she missed weight by 2 or 3 pounds, and they stopped her fight.
She was supposed to fight 2 weeks ago against Marina Rodriguez.
So that's another one who was meant to fight, and then she's had to extend the camp out.
Yeah, and Angela Hill's always known for stepping on short notice anyway. Yeah, she's almost the cowboy in that division.
Yeah. I think that's a step too far for Angela, though.
Yeah, I'd imagine Gadelha, when she's tough and she's powerful.
Yeah, but again, if Gadelha peaked 2 weeks ago and Angela Hill's coming to this as a fresh fighter,
well, this is what we're saying, isn't it? Yeah,
it changes everything.
I think it depends when you peak, as Jay said. If you prepared, if Claudia was prepared to peak and prepped to peak like 2 weeks ago, does she have it in her to peak again on fight night? Especially, I tell you what's interesting as well is, in terms of like prepping to peak, like you're now prepping to peak at a different point in an arena that's completely empty as well. So normally as a fighter, you may use, if you're not ready, you may use the crowd to gain some adrenaline. You may use the crowd to help you get on top. But when there's no crowd there as well at the moment, it's kind of like there's no one there to really cheer you on apart from your corner. And even during the fight,
I was literally just thinking that,
it's going to be interesting to see that and how that plays out.
But you also saw that criticism as well, to not bring it back to Anthony Smith. You saw, I think it was Anthony Smith's corner. Was it Anthony Smith's corner that just continuously shouting at Anthony Smith? And DC was saying on the mic that, continuously shouting and giving an instruction, your fighters are going to listen to that, and especially with no crowd, it's going to be, it's going to be even more louder than it usually is. So maybe that, especially in those first 5-10 minutes when the adrenaline's running, you've got a full gas tank. You got your corner coming in every 2 or 3 seconds. You're going to listen to it, and it probably wore him out perhaps more than it would have done in a full capacity arena.
Yeah,
that very well could be a factor, but I don't ever remember Anthony Smith fighting like that, because I've often heard coaches, they just scream at anything just in terms of like to get a jab off or something like that. So fighters are constantly staying active. I've never seen Anthony Smith fight like that. So that's definitely interesting, but I agree that could have been a factor in that. I'm looking here, like Matt Brown's fighting as well. He's the headliner on the preliminary card.
It is a very good card, and I'm looking at the weight. it's interesting. We've only had 2 fighters miss their weight in these last 3 fight cards, which, you know, considering the times we're in, a lot of people are taking short notice fights. Everyone's made weight, other than Jeremy Stephens and one other fighter.
And still, even at that, only one person has tested positive.
And that was at the start as well, which is almost, you know, if someone tested positive on this Wednesday or Saturday, or this Saturday one coming up, it's a whole different ball game.
I've never heard of a fighter get so much support for testing positive before a fight.
Yeah, it's like, obviously with what happened as well on Wednesday night with Marvin Vettori's fight falling through.
Yes,
like,
that was the other one.
I saw a lot of people online calling for Uriah Hall to maybe come in and fight Marvin Vettori on Saturday night, because that was definitely something that could have been done. But obviously, after Uriah making weight on Friday morning last week, then you'd have to make weight potentially again on Friday. You kind of fall into the same ballpark as what happened with Tony.
Yeah, you know, we saw Tony do 2 in 2 weeks, 2 weight cuts in a matter of 3 or 4 days. It's very dangerous.
Oh yeah,
and it's just as a catch weight fight.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it would probably make the most sense because he's almost guaranteed not to make the weight. Like, you could imagine how much he's put on in 7 days.
Yeah, especially Saturday night. If he knew his fight was cancelled Saturday afternoon, was it Friday? When the Jacare stuff came out Friday morning, was it Friday afternoon or was it Saturday?
It was like Friday
it was
night,
after the
Saturday
weigh-ins.
Morning,
Yeah, after the weigh-ins. Yeah, so Uriah Hall probably would have, you know, at that point knew his fight was off.
Because there was a good 12-hour window where it gave people time to criticise this event going ahead and stuff like that. I remember, yeah.
To be fair, the UFC had done it very smoothly. You know, there was a lot of questions coming into this free fight period about how they were doing. You know, other than Jacare, they've flown with it. There's been a lot of criticisms about it, but you can't really criticise much at the moment on the back end of it now.
Yeah, but I think Jacare testing positive is also a win for the UFC in terms of what they're trying to do, because they're on the ball with it. You know what I mean? They've taken the right steps. They've realised, right, one person's positive, okay, removed. And apparently he was sent into a car and straight home that day rather than even going to his hotel and stuff like that. So, I mean, it seems like everything that they've done, the steps that they've taken, it's been a home run for them. So I would imagine a lot more sports will be
I know
coming back together.
Bob Arum's meant to be coming back at the start of June, I think, or mid-June. So, and Bellator have been talking about mid-July. So, you know, we questioned Dana, but, you know, he put his foot down first, and it seems like others can now follow suit. It was almost a question of who's going to go first. And, you know, if Dana had his way, we would have seen Tony and Khabib probably by now.
Yeah, Dana was always going to go first. There was no two ways about it. He's that type of person, you know what I mean? He's stubborn.
Yeah, but then you see what a UFC is, and you've got to say congratulations. You know, he's done 25 years or 20 years at least in the business, and there's a reason why it's number one.
Well, yeah,
I think Dana gets a lot of criticism, but I mean, and some of it's probably justified. But I think he's also very
underrated.
He is the reason why MMA is where it is today. Like, he put his money where his mouth is, along with the Fertitas and stuff like that. But Dana was always that real bossy promoter. When did you ever see a promoter on Twitter coursing out fans and stuff like that? You never would.
You see, Eddie Hearn gives him a lot of props, and Eddie Hearn's almost modelling himself as the boxing version of Dana White. He's trying to go down that path, but
yeah, I like Eddie Hearn.
I think it's hard to compare the two when you've got, and like Jay said, I love Eddie Hearn. I think the way he goes about it is brilliant. I think he's the best promoter in boxing. But when you compare him and Dana White's a lot more brash. He'll make a lot more decisions. Like, the comments that Dana's made over the years about fighters is ridiculous. Like, there's so many. You could make like an hour video on comments that he's made. And
do you see him? How much longer do you see him going for?
Probably another 10 years. I don't see him stopping.
It seems like the only way
the only way I see him stepping aside is if WME tell him to step aside, and I don't see that happening.
Let's get some predictions for tomorrow. Tomorrow then. Overeem, Walt Harris, Gadea, and Angela Hill, I guess, is our focus. But yeah, any predictions for tomorrow?
Jay, you go first. You win the quiz.
Say it one more time.
Sorry, you're cutting up.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so main event. I'm looking at it here. Yeah, I think it's probably just going to be too soon for Walt Harris. I want him to win, like just for the good of the situation. But I think Overeem will probably beat him in the third round. I think he'll stop him in the third round. Coleman, Claudia Gadelha, and Angela Hill. I'm sure we're probably all of the same opinion. Gadelha will win that one. Probably by decision. Featherweight, Barboza and Dan Ige. I'm going to say Barboza. Just because I feel like that fight can go anywhere. They're my top three anyway. Do you want the full main card?
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I think that's how I'm edging towards it. I think I want to see Walt Harris win so badly, but I'm gonna go with Walt Harris. I think he's gonna get it. I think it's gonna be one of those nights. You get a fairy tale written night. It's just meant to be.
Yeah,
you get them every now and then. I think this is gonna be Walt Harris's
best case scenario.
I think it's gonna be Walt Harris's moment, and I think Claudia Gadelha I edge towards, but Angela Hill she's on a 3-fight win streak, I think, as well, and she's known her experience in terms of stepping up for short notice fights. But yeah, I'd edge Gadelha for a decision as well, and I'd like to see Edson Barboza get another knockout.
Yeah, I think it, as Jay said, I think it's too soon for Walt, but obviously only he's going to know that. So I think Overeem's going to win. I think Claudia will quite easily beat Angela Hill, and I think Dan Ige is going to beat Barboza.
Oh, controversial.
Yeah, I just think that maybe, obviously the weight cut he made it, he hit his mark, but I don't know. I just think that Dan Ige is the wrong person to put him in against at his debut like that. So I think Dan Ige's been on a roll.
Well, wasn't Barboza meant to be fighting Josh Emmett as well?
Yeah, that was
the rumoured one?
I think that was set up, wasn't it? But
it's another one of those cancelled fights and switching opponents on short notice as well.
Yeah, but I think Dan Ige will win that. But it's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow's fights. It is the co-main and main event. All of these could be a co-main or main event of a fight night, or at least open a pay-per-view. It's not quite the elite level. It's not where Tooth on 9 was, but it's just that level below it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
110%. Eric Anderson's like Christoph Jocko. Like, I can't wait for that fight. I'd put that on a pay-per-view main card. I would like.
Yeah, that could open it. That could open the pay-per-view pretty nicely and set you up for the rest of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Yeah. And Song Yadong as well. Song Yadong is an exciting fighter by name and by nature.
He is. But the thing is, though, is that it's at 45.
Yeah.
And the records are identical.
Yeah. Obviously, we saw,
what
was his name? Brian Kelleher and Hunter Azza go to. That was a good
fight.
Well. It was a great fight.
This thing called out Sean O'Malley, wasn't it? Was it him called out Sean O'Malley?
Yeah, called out Sean O'Malley. I think he's shooting a bit there. I think it's a bit of a step too far.
Yeah. Do you reckon we get another cut shin like we did the other night?
It was horrible, wasn't it?
That was one of the most horrendous cuts I've seen in a long while.
You could
see
see
Beck
straight
Rollins summed it up
through
perfectly.
the bone. Yeah. I put that tweet in the That was
Darren Till.
There's definitely going to be a skin graft involved there.
Yeah, he's got his tattoo there as well. He's ruined his tattoo now.
Yeah. I think he'll live, but I was disgusted. That was. Remind me of Luke Rockhold when he had his as well.
Yeah.
That was one of those moments where they showed it to the camera that I wish the fans would have been in the audience, because they would have all had the same reaction in the audience when they put it on that big screen.
Yeah, Twitter was fuming when that went up. Twitter were like, there was not enough warning in the world that you prepared us for to see that. But I didn't mind it. Like, you know, we've all saw so many horrible injuries
Yeah.
over the years.
It seems to be the ones that you least expect, but the ones that aren't like it's not an Anderson Silva leg break, which is maybe because it's less blood, it's less gruesome, but it's a more serious injury. But it's like it's them ones that you don't expect to get you more.
Yeah, like to be honest, like, I don't mind seeing all that stuff. I don't know if it's
No.
obviously like it might go into it with where I work as well, but like just like in general, like I don't mind seeing stuff like that. Like at the end of the day,
No.
like if you don't like seeing stuff like that, then what are you
You
watching
probably
the
shouldn't be
sport
watching.
for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones
You're
that make
watching
me
the sport.
grimace the most are arm bars and chimeras.
Yeah, I don't like watching arms and legs twist the way they shouldn't.
No.
Like Frank Mir and Nogueira was perfect example.
Yeah,
like
I
that
couldn't watch
creeped
that.
me out.
I couldn't watch that. I watched it. I've watched it back a few times, and every time it still gets me. Like I just can't see bones crack out of place and pop and stuff like that. I can't do it. But I'll happily sit there and just watch like massive cuts and gashes and stuff like that. I'll happily
watch Gate.
Fun.
Wait, look at Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler too.
Yeah.
And
Even,
then Overeem and Rosenstruck. Those lips,
Overeem's,
I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. That's perfect. That's warrior-like mentality. But watching arm pop out of place, you're like, no, I'm done.
I'm done, yeah. That's my limit. That's my level of gruesomeness.
Yeah, whose arm was it that popped out? I was watching Korean Zombie against Jose Aldo a couple of weeks ago. And that was horrendous.
Yeah.
His shoulder dislocated. And it's like, oh, I'm good. Right, guys, that was our little bit of a recap from the other night, and obviously previewing Overeem versus Walt Harris. It's been a fantastic week of fights. We have to commend the UFC. Thank you, Jay, and thank you, Reece, for coming on. Spectacular as always. Good chatting.
No problem.
Jay's still got his title win, shall we say, from the quiz. He's living off that for the next couple of weeks. We'll be hearing about it in the group chat. Hopefully, Orion will come back strong, but we'll see. We saw how Orion did, but yeah.
Undefeated and undisputed.
There we go.
Yeah, definitely. Almost had it lost at one point, but he
was
really
never
did
in doubt.
epitomise Diaz versus McGregor too. It's the epitome of that. But yeah, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit subscribe. We're having a lot of content coming towards you guys, and it's nice just to have live sport back. Bundesliga's back in the football world this weekend, so everything is slowly coming back to normality. But yeah, we're going to be here to help you stick through it. Make sure to follow us on all the socials below, and we'll see you on the next video.